Two old guys that ain't taking their crap no more. You're listening to Earl and George.
That's how you start a Saturday. I like it. Hope everybody had a great week, and welcome to Earl and George. My name is Earl.
And
my name is George.
Whoa,
wait,
you threw me off.
You're Earl.
I'm Earl.
My name is George.
I'm Earl.
And Mr. Producer doesn't have a name. Did you have a good week there, Mr. Producer?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Good. It's a funny story. I know that yesterday you kind of had your first ever voiceover class.
Oh yeah.
And
nice.
It was intense.
It was intense.
Nice.
I heard the story. Earl, did you have a good week there, buddy?
I did until North Korea started yapping.
Yeah, well, I just would like to, by the way, welcome to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. Check us out on Facebook, Earl and George. Now up on Spreaker.
Yep.
Is it Earl and George?
No, they've got numbers. They won't let you do a custom URL.
Oh, until we get like 100 followers or something, right? But just how do they search us then?
They can go to our website, earlandgeorge.com. There's
and it links
a nice
over?
little thing down there that says click here to listen to us on Spreaker.
Oh, great. So just go to earlandgeorge.com,
Right.
and then you can do that way. By the way, spam the like button an odd number of times. Get your friends, get your neighbors. I was talking to a friend here locally about the show, and she went and listened and loves it, and she's telling all her friends about it. So it's growing.
Yeah, we're also in new directories. I put us in. We're now on Google Play podcast features.
Nice.
And we're on TuneIn. And
wow,
we're on.
We made the big time.
Yeah, Stitcher. Those
what
are
is
the three.
Stitcher? Oh, I heard about that years ago. I thought they were gone.
That's actually a really huge podcasting
really?
network now. Yeah.
Oh, good. So
and
welcome.
they're very picky about who they pick. So.
Welcome, Stitcher.
Yeah.
To the Earl and George family. Do you got a minute? You guys talk amongst yourselves. I have a present for you.
Wow.
It's in my office. I'll be right back.
Oh, I think I know what this is. I want to see this.
What do you think it is?
I think it's the new swag.
Oh.
Yeah, for the show, because he said that he was going to have some made up.
Let's see.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He got a bag, too.
That's fancy, man.
Nice.
Sweet.
I love it.
Yeah, so we got a 3.5-inch Earl and George logo on the front of the T-shirt, and then we've got the big 13-inch logo on the back, and I think it looks fantastic. By the way.
Yep.
By the way, I don't know if you're a 2X or not, but that's what the guy had, and it was either 2X or like medium. So I went with 2X. I'm no longer a 2X. I'm now an XL.
There you go. Congrats.
It's working. I feel great, by the way. I'm losing lots.
I cut out sugar.
I'm losing in my stomach. I'm gaining in my beard. It's coming. It's coming in there. So the new swag is in. We've got this nice,
tote bag
with the logo on it. But all of that's going to be available eventually at all the places. So thank you guys. Everybody who's supporting us. I did have somebody actually come up to me and say, hey, I started listening to this new thing because, we're doing the Facebook thing. And they started listening and they like what they hear. So nice. Welcome to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. Now, coming up on today's show, Tim Tebow walked out of the batter's box.
What?
Yes, just stormed right out of the batter's box. Ashley Judd got called sweetheart.
Oh, no.
And Hillary Clinton's pastor compared her loss in the election to the death and resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We'll talk about that. Now, we're also coming up the douche of the week. And something that just kind of, we may talk about later in the show, but something that I've been thinking about all week, especially after the firing of the Google employee for his claims about diversity in the workforce. And when you read, if you go back and you actually read what the guy wrote, what he was saying was, we need to hire women in these specific areas. He said, when you look at the workforce of Google, it's not very diverse. We need more women.
Right.
All right. But men and women think differently. Men and women act differently. It's all he was saying. He said, and we want more women in the workforce, and we can put them in these specific things. Now, he wasn't speaking specifically. He was very general. Generally speaking, men are this. Generally speaking, women are this. Right. But they fired him anyway. And that got me thinking and I want everybody to pay attention to this. Write it down and ponder this for the rest of the day. I want you to write this down. And I want you to think about it for the rest of the day because you will be amazed at where your brain goes. You ready?
Yep.
You can't have equality and diversity at the same time.
That's deep.
It's impossible. Because you either can't you can't say men and women are equal. They are the same, right? Now, I'm not talking about rights. I'm talking about biologically, scientifically, human women and human men are different. But that's not what we're being told. We're saying everything a man can do, a woman can do. Everything a woman can do, a man can do. That's scientific lunacy, okay? You can't have that kind of equality and at the same time, the diversity that they want.
Right.
Because they have very specific definitions. But if you use those definitions, you can't have both at the same time. For example, at Google, you can have diversity in the workforce. You can have men and women. You can have multiple genetic backgrounds. You can have people from all different countries. You can have all the diversity in the world. You can have diversity in people, in whatever. But don't have diversity in your thought.
Yeah, that's
See, Google says no to diversity in thought. That, it's my body, it's my right. Well, no, I disagree with you. You're a hater. No, I just have a diverse opinion, and we love diversity, right?
Right.
I have a diverse opinion. So you can't have equality and diversity at the same time. I just want everybody to think about that. Now, on with the show. Today is a big day. Because if you go back to the very beginning of Earl and George, way back, all the way back to our first episode, I laid out what's happening right now. Now, it's happening not exactly the way I laid it out, but it's close, right? Earl, wouldn't you say it's close?
Yes, and it's caused panic in my household.
It is. I'm glad your wife listens to the show and takes what I have to say to heart. I hate doing the whole prediction thing, but looking at the situation for so long, you just can't help but try to predict what's going to happen.
Right.
Now, am I saying we're going to have a nuclear war? No. Am I saying we're going to invade North Korea? No, of course not. What I'm saying is, and you kind of backed me up on this before the show, was, North Korea moved a lot faster technologically than anybody thought they would. Bill Clinton handed them nuclear technology. Now
$5 billion.
And $5 billion. Now the Defense Intelligence Agency comes out and says, they have the ability to mount nuclear weapons on ICBMs, and they've got about 60 bombs.
Yep. And it's like, what?
Well, what? When you go back to listen to the Bill Clinton, it's like, they're disarming their nuclear, and they're not going to have a nuclear, and South Korea and Japan are going to pay for them to get rid of their nuclear. Fast forward 2 presidents, and all of a sudden we've got a nuclear-armed North Korea, and as Rush Limbaugh calls him, the zit on a pig has them aimed at us. Right?
Yeah, it actually happened within 10 years of the whole deal. They did the deal in 1994, and by 2005 they were proclaiming that they had nuclear missiles. And Jimmy Carter, right, the president, he said that he is the one that told them to freeze their operation. He's supposedly the guy that did the whole back and forth agreement with them.
Yeah, he was working on behalf of the Clinton administration for peace. He also did some peace in the Middle East stuff, and that turned out great, didn't it? Yeah. Everything Jimmy Carter touches turns to crap, basically.
The thing that angers me the most about the whole North Korean deal is it's the exact same deal they did with Iran. And they're telling us the same thing with North Korea, that they wouldn't have nuclear weapons for 50 years, and they did it in less than 20.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get deep into, let's just go. We're going to get deep into the North Korea thing. We're going to go a little early here, and then we're going to really dig into this, because I want to go back to what I said at the beginning, way back at the beginning of Earl and George, to today. Right?
Yeah, it was episode 2.
Was it episode 2?
Yeah.
So we're on episode 4. And we're going to talk about it. But we've got some audio from the president. I want to talk about Agent Chaos's comments.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we'll lay out North Korea, what our possible options are, and we'll all pray for diplomacy to save the day. It's Earl and George. We'll be right back.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hey everybody, it's George from Earl and George. I just want to thank you guys for listening to this week's show and invite you to check us out on Facebook at Earl and George. Also, go to earlandgeorge.com. And remember, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, listen on TuneIn, download Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google thing. I don't know what that is. Earl set that up. But look, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the show and continue to tell your friends and tell your neighbors about Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
Mama always said that if you keep playing with it, it'll fall off. You're listening to Earl and George.
Ain't that the truth? Mama was always right. Welcome to Aged Conservative Talk. Earl and George broadcasting from the great state of Alabama.
Roll Tide.
There it is. It's a cue. You just kind of it's a cue. Tim Tebow walked out of the because he went from football to baseball, and just FYI, I'm a huge Tim Tebow fan.
Me too.
Okay, the guy's had a rough ride, but he's a good guy, and he's I follow his foundation, and I want to meet him one of these days. Former NFL quarterback and devout Christian has been attempting to make a baseball career. Signed by the New York Mets, trying to move up from the minor leagues, Tebow's been playing for the St. Lucie Mets in Port St. Lucie, Florida. He already has a knack for managing sporting feats with the storybook queue while giving his time and resources to those in need. But when Tim Tebow's squad visited the Charlotte Stone Crabs in Port Charlotte, Florida, by the way, I love minor league baseball names. I love them, man. They're great. Visited the Charlotte Stone Crabs in Port Charlotte, Florida on July 29th. He simply raised the bar again. The Tampa Bay Times remarked, "You can't make this stuff up," end quote. It was the top of the seventh inning, and Tebow was taking some practice swings in the on-deck circle. That's when he stopped swinging the bat and just walked off. What happened? Well, 9-year-old Seth Bosch made his way down from his seat, moved toward Tebow, and waved at him. It was a big deal for the little guy. Seth has high-functioning autism and also suffers from neurofibromatosis, a genetic disorder that produces tumors on the nerve tissue. Seth also has a tumor behind his right eye, the paper added, and has a hard time playing sports. Seth's mother, Ileana, was videotaping. Do they still videotape stuff? Because I don't think that's a proper term. I don't think we do that. His mother was taping the encounter and got emotional just seeing her son take the risk that Tebow may not see him or respond. And I was at a softball tournament with the United States softball team just a couple weeks ago, and I was right down. We had first row, third base. We were right there, right?
Right.
And one of the huge Auburn players, Cooper, she was down in the on-deck circle, and this little girl walks up and just goes, "Hey, Cooper. I mean, she was closer than us right now in the studio. Cooper never turned around, never acknowledged the little girl, never said hello, never said anything. And I was like, that kind of sucks.
Right.
It's not, whatever. Anyway, so what does Tebow do? Hell, he stops what he's doing, walked from the on-deck circle, shook the boy's hand through the netting. The crowd was clapping and going crazy, and, he probably got fined.
Right.
Who cares, man? The boy walks back to his seat. Mom and dad, younger sister waited. Seth began to cry. Admittedly, it was a moment that's hard to watch, but the boy, it puts a lump in your throat when you watch the video. Tebow stepped into the batter's box. Ileana Bosch is heard telling Seth on the video that his hero was about to hit a home run.
Yep.
That's exactly what Tebow did.
Yes, it is.
Knocked a dinger. Now, the pictures of the boy, he has autism, so he's got his headphones on because of all the noise and stuff, right? He's got these big headphones on. More tears came from the boy. It was a great story. Usually we save those to the end, but that's too good right there. By the way, that's what a sports star is supposed to do.
Yep.
Okay? I don't care if you're LeBron James or you're a softball player named Cooper from Auburn. You turn around, smile at the kid, shake her hand, shake his hand, and then go hit a home run. That's all I'm saying.
That's right out of Babe Ruth's playbook.
It's fantastic,
Yep.
man. That's how you do it. And if they find him, I'll help Tebow pay the fine. I mean, not that he needs help paying the fine, but I'm just saying I'll pay. Okay. You ready to talk some North Korea, fellas?
Sure.
Are you ready for this? Man. So in episode 2 of Earl and George, and for about the last 10 years, I've been watching China. I don't really care. This was back in the Kim Jong-il days. I've been watching China for so long sell off American debt. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I believe that when the Chinese are ready to take a hit on losing all of that money, they're going to tell South Korea to invade North Korea. North Korea to invade South Korea, excuse me. That's what I'm thinking, because it'll stretch us too thin. We won't be able to handle it. They'll devalue our dollar. Well, the same thing will happen if they launch a nuke.
Right.
And we're unable to hit it out of the sky. If they, here's the problem that as I see it today. If North Korea launches a bunch of nukes at mainland United States, we may get 1. We may get 5. We're not getting 30. So, North Korea is now talking about launching 4 at one time at Guam to land about 200 miles off the island.
ICBMs, right? Not nukes.
ICBM is a nuke. The Intercontinental Ballistic Missile carries a nuclear warhead. That's what an intercontinental ballistic missile is designed for.
I knew that's what it's designed
is to carry a nuclear warhead.
I knew that's what it was designed for, but, I didn't know that they had come out and said that they were actually going to launch 4 nukes.
No, they said they were going to launch 4 missiles. I'm not saying they're nukes.
Okay, see, that's what I thought you were saying.
No,
nukes.
Recently they've said that they were going to spray Guam with missiles, is what they were going to say. So they were going to launch 4.
No.
And they said that they were supposed to. In fact, you know what? Cue up cut 2. I've got the actual announcement of them saying here it is.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공. 12월 10일 평양부터 철산군 소일 위성 발사장에서 운반 로켓 은하
this North Korean TV.
광명성 3호 2호기
She's doing it with such passion.
Dude, it's hilarious, man. I randomly found some North Korean TV. She sounds so mad. She's like, play it again. Play it again.
All right.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공.
Okay. So they said they were going to. I want to keep that one queued up just in case. They said they were going to spray Guam, and there were 4 missiles. You're going to land about 200 miles off the island. Well, that's a huge threat.
Yeah.
When you start launching missiles at American, air fingers quote, territory, because as far as I understand, Guam's still a protectorate, right?
Yep.
That's an act of war. That is a no kidding show of aggression thing.
Yep. Back at war with Korea.
Now, the current president, I don't know if you all knew this or not, but it was Donald Trump.
Really? Are you sure?
Said this in 1999. Go, cut 1.
Got one coming up.
1999.
We're a bunch of saps. There's no question that North Korea is developing missiles. We give them nuclear power plants. We give them tremendous aid because we thought we could bribe them into stop development. Well, they're developing. So much so that South Korea is now developing their own missile systems in order to protect. And I'm really not sure I can blame them. But North Korea is totally out of control. And would you rather have a very, very serious chat with them now? And if necessary, you might have to do something fairly drastic. Or would you rather have to go after them in 5 years when they have more nuclear warheads and missiles than we do?
Wow.
8 years later, here we are. Apparently nobody listened to that moron 8 years ago because he's too stupid. He's an actor. He's on The Apprentice. He doesn't know what he's talking about. 8 years later, that guy is the president of the United States. Now, what did the administrations do from 1999 on? They appeased, they sanctioned, the North Koreans violated the sanctions, nobody cared. There was, and and so on and so on and so on.
They actually sold uranium to Libya.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes on. The restraints we put on Pyongyang have done nothing. He's still killing his own people. He's still putting them into concentration camps. Have you seen the rallies that they're doing now? These Day of Pride and all that stuff. They always have a big, North Korean DPRK, Independence Day or whatever it is. Now they look like the modern day. They are the modern day Nazi Germany.
Yep.
I mean, I think they were all saluting exactly the way the Nazis did in the last picture that I saw. They may have had their fists up, but it sure looked like they were doing the whatever that's called, William salute or whatever it's called. There's a name for that salute.
But they're also running over Christians with steamrollers in North Korea. There's some pretty gnarly videos out there that come out after this.
I have not.
Yeah,
seen
I wouldn't
Serious?
recommend you don't. Yeah, they're pretty horrible.
Wow.
Because a friend of mine sent it to me and said, "Can you believe they're doing this now?" And I clicked it, and I was like, "Whoa."
when they make announcements on Korean TV, they all kind of sound the same. They all sound like this.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공.
She's having a good time, though.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Okay, fast forward 8 years. Here is President Trump this week on North Korea. Cue up cut 7.
Mr. President, are you going to increase the U.S. military presence in Asia?
We are going to look at what's happening in Asia. We're looking at it right now. We're constantly looking at it. I don't like to signal what I'm going to be doing, but we are certainly looking at it. And obviously, we're spending a lot of time looking at, in particular, North Korea. And we are preparing for many different alternative events at North Korea. He has disrespected our country greatly. He has said things that are horrific. And with me, he's not getting away with it. He got away with it for a long time between him and his family. He's not getting away with it. It's a whole new ball game. And he's not going to be saying those things, and he's certainly not going to be doing those things. I read about we're in Guam by August 15th. Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam. It will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the guy goes on, the reporter comes back and he says, is that a dare? Is that a dare?
Right.
Like we're the ones, excuse me, like we're the ones going, come on, Kim Jong-un, launch your missiles, buddy. Come on.
Please attack Guam.
Yeah, please attack. Look, we have tried sanctions. We sent them a tall basketball player whose head is now full of metal. We have tried everything. They murdered one of our citizens. They have several of them in custody. We've tried to get international pressure. We've tried, and the Chinese and the Russians stop it. We have tried United Nations. We've tried every diplomatic means possible. Everything. We have tried economic means. We have tried everything.
For over 20 years.
For over 20 years. And now, all of a sudden, Jill Stein last week, it's our fault they're the way they are.
Right.
And idiotic reporters this week, Mr. President, is that a dare to the leader of North Korea? No. They have disrespected our country greatly. And with me, they're not getting away with it. That's all I got out of that.
Right.
They've disrespected our country greatly. And with me, they've gotten away with it for too long. They're not getting away with it. Now, what are our options?
I don't know. This is what I want to.
What are our options? When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the things. There's only 4 things we can do, really. There's only 4 things. All right? And we'll talk about what those options are when we come back. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. By the way, the phone number will be swapped over in 2 weeks. I talked to them yesterday. As long as it's difficult. Earl and George, 800-684-9925. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. This is the place to be. We'll be right back.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You're listening to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
Yes, you are.
By the way, it was 18 years.
Yeah, I said 8, and I appreciate you correcting that. So the first clip we played from the president was in 1999. So, and I said 8 years later, and it was 18 years later that the new clip we played was.
You just don't want to admit how old you've gotten. That's all that is.
Or how bad at math I am. Never do math live on the radio or TV. That's the rule, because you'll always mess it up. Welcome back to Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. By the way, if you don't know who we are, we do a wrap-up show. This is a wrap-up show of the week's biggest political stories. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll go over the douche of the week. There are plenty of candidates this week. Plenty of nominations. How many did you have?
I had 10 just by myself.
Yeah. 10 douche nominations.
Oh, you added one?
Yeah, I
did. Coming up later in the show, we'll talk about Ashley Judd. She got called sweetheart in an airport. And all hell broke loose.
Yeah, it did. She lost her mind.
Right now, we're digging into North Korea. And when we left, we were going to talk about the 4 options that we have. And I actually forgot what the 4th one is, because I was trying to make a list here. Like, I know there are 4. I know there's 4 options. Here are the 3 options that I could remember. Number 1 is diplomacy. We continue to try the international diplomatic route. We try to convince Russia, and this is what every day the diplomatic route is what we try.
Right.
Every day we try to talk to Russia. We try to talk to China and get them to say, look, calm this guy down. Calm him down.
Which they're not doing. But Maxine Waters, your favorite senator, is blaming it on the fact that our Secretary of State doesn't have his deputy secretary, and anybody in office now. That's why she's saying diplomacy's failing.
Yes. Now, right. So now all of a sudden, my favorite representative Maxine Waters. By the way, can you play, which one is the one? Can you play cut 3 for me? I think it's cut 3 or 4. Play cut 3.
This liberal will be all about socializing.
What she said? Oh, wait.
Will be about
liberal.
It'll be about
basically
what will it be?
Over.
Wow.
And the government running all of your companies.
And that was to the president of Exxon. She was talking to. That's Maxine Waters. Here's another. Let's do a best of Maxine Waters. Play cut 4. Go ahead.
Madam Chairwoman, the day is over when men can badger and intimidate women,
Madam Speaker,
marginalize them,
words
and keep them from speaking. I am pleased
Wow.
I was able to come to her
Madam
defense.
Speaker, I demand
we
the
are now
gentleman's
in
words
this
be
house.
taken down.
Will the
We are
gentlewoman
members
suspend?
of this house.
Will the
We will
gentlewoman
not allow
suspend?
men to intimidate us.
And she's being
Speaker, I
gavelled.
demand the
Gentlewoman must
gentleman's
suspend.
Silent in the house,
gentlewoman
in
must
this
suspend.
floor of the house.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you again. You see a man who's
Madam
not
Speaker, the
shut up a
gentlewoman
woman.
from California is out of order.
You must suspend, gentlemen.
Out of order.
Right.
Madam
Dude.
Speaker, I demand the sergeant at arms bring the gentlewoman to her feet.
Demands the sergeant at arms bring the gentlewoman to, and she keeps going.
Comply with the rules of this house.
It is only when a woman
The
attempts to
gentlewoman
speak.
from California, you must suspend.
It is only when a woman
Gentlewoman
attempts to
from
exercise
California.
her rights
You
in this
must
house.
suspend.
Speaker, I demand the
You
sergeant
must
at
have
arms
this
bring
kind
the
of
gentlewoman to
intimidation.
her
Must
feet.
Good old
suspend,
Maxine
gentlewoman from
Waters.
California.
This is a
Sheesh.
fine.
Good old Maxine Waters. You know what? The rules are for everybody else but her.
Apparently.
There's a rule in the Congress called comedy, not the funny kind of ha-ha comedy.
Right.
But calmity, C-A-L-M-I. Okay. And it means that's why they refer to each other, the gentlewoman from California, the gentleman from Minnesota, right? My esteemed colleague from Arizona. That's called comedy. They're not allowed to disparage the other members of the House or the Senate. So that's why they use that language. And there's a clip previously where she tells another Representative King from New York, she tells him to shut up.
Peter King?
Peter
Wow.
King. She tells Peter King, it was during the Whitewater investigation. She said, you're out of order. Shut up.
Dude.
Which is a total violation of the rules of the House.
Right.
She doesn't care, man. The rules are for somebody else. The rules are for everybody else.
How is she still in?
Because the idiotic people of California keep electing this woman. They keep electing her. That's
I don't
why.
understand why.
Because they keep electing her. I don't know why they keep electing her. She's an idiot. She is the most unethical person in the government right now. She is the most unethical. That's not a statement by George from Earl and George. That's fact.
Right.
That PolitiFact came out and said, other news agencies have said, she is the most unethical congressperson, like, currently serving.
Wow.
She's been brought up on charges. She's been held in contempt of Congress. She's been investigated 6 ways from Sunday about her husband's businesses. She appropriates money that goes in her bank account. She is the most unethical human being. All that stimulus money, she was the chairperson of the committee that gave away the stimulus money. They gave most of it to her husband and his companies. Dude, I'm telling you, Maxine Waters is the biggest crook, but nobody wants to attack her because why? I'm a strong black woman, because she'll tell you I'm a strong black woman from California, and nobody wants to point that out. And the people that do, she gavels out, she shouts down, she lies about them. I mean, she lies to everybody. She's like, I never said we should impeach the president. She's out every other day talking about impeaching the president. Anyway, sorry, we were talking about North Korea, and I got off on
I brought her up.
I got off on a Maxine Waters. We'll talk about Maxine Waters when we talk about Russian collusion next hour. So Trump says North Korea has disrespected us, disrespected our country. What are 3 options? We try to continue down the diplomacy route, and I guarantee you we are. Nikki Haley, the UN ambassador, is out there every day trying to get China and Russia to tame North Korea. North Korea's like, no. Even China has said, hey, if we do something back to them, they're going to back North Korea.
Yeah, if the U.S. shows aggression towards North Korea, China's going to back North Korea.
What more aggression do we need to show? Well, they're launching missiles at us.
Yeah, that's actually what their president said. Their president says if North Korea attacks Guam and the United States responds with an attack, they're going to back North Korea, even though we have every right to defend ourselves.
I'm telling you right now, that tells me the Chinese have told Kim Jong-un to do this.
Right.
I think the Chinese are orchestrating this.
It's getting really sketchy. Like I said, when my wife started paying attention to it, she started blaming you for jinxing the whole thing.
I'm not the jinx. I'm just saying.
You called it like you saw it.
That's right.
Yeah.
The North Korean, and look how fast they advanced. You can't tell me a country who can't feed their people will advance their nuclear program that fast.
Right.
The Chinese are orchestrating this.
Right.
Okay. Number 2, military action. Number 2, military action.
Yeah, which none of us want to see, but I think it's
conventional or nuclear.
Past. I would hope conventional, but when you're talking about a little troll that's got 60
nuclear missiles,
possibly more. But
he's got 60 bombs. I don't know how many missiles he's got, but he's got 60 bombs.
And you're talking about that little troll like that.
Zit on a pig.
Yeah,
zit on a pig.
That's completely unpredictable. If we attack him with traditional weapons, he may try to use one of the ones that he's got against either an ally or even Guam.
Here's the thing about Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is the schoolyard bully that you have to stand up to.
Right.
Problem is, we're dealing with nuclear missiles here, okay? Because if you attack him with conventional weapons, he's going to escalate.
Yeah.
He's going to attack you with nuclear weapons, and you can't escalate past that. However, we have 100 megaton bombs. He's got 20 megaton bombs. So,
right.
Our yield is 5 times more. Is my math right? You're never supposed to do math on it.
Right.
But we have to stand up to him. We have to try to continue diplomacy. And now Maxine Waters, like you said, is out there saying that diplomacy has failed because Trump sucks, basically.
Because he doesn't have his full administration in place.
Yeah. That's Trump's fault for them not voting on all of the people, that not confirming all of his right. That's Trump's fault. Maxine Waters wants play that North Korean. This is what I think about. This is what I think about Maxine Waters in my brain. That's what it sounds like. Wow. Okay. Number 3, we do nothing. That's an option. We absolutely do nothing. Just let the little zit on the pig do what he's going to do. He's going to shoot missiles at Guam. Okay.
We'll never do that, though.
This is Obama's line in the sand in Syria.
Yeah.
Trump has laid out. He is not going to get away with it. And if he does something in August when he shoots missiles at Guam, we are going to respond, America.
Yep.
What should that response be? More sanctions from the UN? More nuclear missile inspectors?
Well, see, this whole...
Or do we bomb his ass? Can I say that? I didn't say it.
Mongolian wild ass.
Can we bomb his Mongolian wild ass off the planet? Can we do it?
Yeah.
I mean, we can. We got 7,000 nuclear bombs. I was looking the other day. Russia has 7,000 nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
We have like 6,800. He has 60.
Yeah.
Now, granted, 60 ICBM, two megaton yield warheads.
It's going to do some damage. Do some
we don't have
damage.
60 major cities in this country. He could take out every major city. Now, I'm not a scaremonger.
Right.
What all he needs to do is launch one that we miss, airburst it, and then all power for the next, however many years is gone on that area.
Right.
I mean, he could totally EMP?
Yeah.
Like DC or EMP New York.
Yeah, which Obama, thankfully, actually did an exercise for that just in case, and they tested it back a couple of years ago to make sure our grid would still be able to function for, like, our water supply and stuff like that.
Right, but the electrical grid, they shorts out all the transformers and relays is what an EMP does.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have enough spare transformers and relays to replace every one of them on every power pole from Maine to Orlando.
No. The results of the test was actually they did it out in the ocean, and when it came back in, that's when they started stepping up what we need to be able to do in case there is an EMP.
Yeah,
it's one of the only things I agree.
But I
with.
don't think Kim Jong-un does not want to take out our electrical grid. Kim Jong-un wants dead Americans.
Right. Yeah, and I think
So what's this deal? Because didn't Trump on that interview was talking about some kind of barrier?
We have a missile defense system which we've been testing from Alaska. It's about a 60-40 success rate.
Right.
We out of every 10, we can hit 4, maybe.
Yeah. And we've got it deployed in Georgia, and we've got it deployed in, I believe, South Korea. I think they moved it to South Korea.
I thought it was in Japan. I thought it was in Japan.
I know. I think they moved it,
and
though,
they have
when he
another
started
one in
going
Alaska.
crazy. Yeah, the one in Alaska is the one that's the more on point one. The others are kind of still iffy, but yeah.
Yeah, and these are the ones that will intercept it when it leaves the atmosphere. Because that's the thing about an ICBM. It doesn't actually. ICBM actually leaves our atmosphere and comes back in.
Right. It's not even how we would prefer to launch a nuclear missile anymore. We'd rather load it up on a plane and drop it on you.
Yeah. So those are our 3 options: diplomacy, military action, conventional or nuclear. Who knows? Well, if he goes nuclear, we have to go nuclear.
Yeah, but if we go nuclear, then that's it. That's what the Bible talks about. It's all she wrote because China's going to reply with nukes, and so will Russia.
I don't think the United States will launch a nuclear missile into the Korean Peninsula because we would be irradiating land too close to our ally, South Korea.
Yeah, I think we'll use that. What do they call it? The mother of all bombs?
Yeah.
I think we'll use that.
Yeah, the Moab.
Yeah.
Yes. And we will, and this is how America fights wars now, we will strategically place the Moab on very specific targets, and we will try to minimize civilian casualties, and so on, and so on, and so on, while North Korea sprays and prays with ICBMs.
Yeah,
they're gonna launch it in New York, and they're gonna hit Arizona or something, right? We'll be right back with our douche of the week. We have a lot of nominees this week. We'll be right back. It's Earl and George, Age Conservative Talk. Go out on Facebook, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Tune in, iTunes,
Google Play.
Yes, whatever he said, and like us and share us. Get the word out for Earl and George, and eventually buy some of our crap. We'll be right back.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn earrings today.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Michaela's got the best earrings.
Sarah, buckle up.
I wish my name was Michaela.
We're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
It can be tough getting through to kids, but it's your job to make sure they're wearing your seatbelts. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Hey, everybody, it's George from Earl and George. I just want to thank you guys for listening to this week's show and invite you to check us out on Facebook at Earl and George. Also, go to earlandgeorge.com. And remember, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, listen on TuneIn, download Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google thing. I don't know what that is. Earl set that up. But look, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the show and continue to tell your friends and tell your neighbors about Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
Smoother than aged whiskey and tighter than turn 4 at Talladega. Earl and George.
Oh, yeah. It's earlandgeorge.com, Earl and George on Facebook. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors that this is the place to get straight, aged conservative talk.
By the way, George is the cute one.
You know it's right.
I don't think I'd argue that one.
Okay. So here's the deal. We were just talking during the break, like, and the president's got the smartest guys in the room talking about it. Here's two old guys. We're sitting here trying to figure this stuff out. Here's the problem. Okay, Kim Jong-un is totally in control of the situation.
Yeah, and that's what's frightening about it.
The lunatic, the zit on a pig, is totally in control of this situation because
the Mongolian wild ass.
Yes. He knows we will not launch a preemptive nuclear strike.
Right.
That's off the table, okay? We have to pursue international diplomacy to get him to stand down. We can't load up South Korea with American troops. Prelude to an invasion. Why? Because he'll go nuclear.
Yep.
We can't. There's so many things we can't do. We can be on military standby. We can be ready to deploy from our bases in Japan and South Korea and so on.
And Guam.
Guam, yep. But he is in control. There's nothing we can do preemptively, and he has his finger on the button.
Right.
And if he goes nuclear, our response has to be nuclear.
Which nobody wants, because then everybody's going to do it.
Okay, when we were growing up, mutually assured destruction was the rule for nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Right? You got them, I got them. If I launch, I die.
Yep.
Mutually assured destruction. Kim Jong-un doesn't give two squirts about mutually assured destruction. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's a lunatic.
Got nothing to lose.
He's a lunatic, and he's got nothing to lose. That's right. Nothing.
Which is what makes the whole situation frightening. Because the whole rhetoric that he's doing right now, the only reason it came out is because the UN unanimously
15 to
approved
nothing.
More sanctions against him. That's when he started talking about nuking Guam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, firing
missiles. Yeah. Spraying. The word they used was spraying Guam. He is in absolute control. We are not going to launch a nuclear weapon into North Korea. Why? Because it's way too close to our ally, South Korea.
Yeah, we'd kill too many people.
We can't do it. I mean, we'd kill North Koreans.
Right.
Here's the bottom line. No matter how this situation ends, it's our fault.
Yep.
That's how it's going to be played. Even though all we're doing is trying to get this lunatic that has nuclear weapons and ICBMs to stand down. He's already made terroristic threats against this country. He's already killed our people. What did you say about the Canadian guy?
Yeah, the Canadian pastor, they're releasing him because he's supposedly dying in North Korean prison. So they're releasing him to send him back to Canada so he dies in Canada.
He'll die in Canada.
Yeah,
just like Weinbeer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a lunatic. We all understand that. But how do you deal with a lunatic? How do people talk to Maxine Waters? Because she's almost as bad, like banging your head against the wall.
I think we got to get our SEAL Team 6 in there to send him in to take him out. Take him out, take out
what
his
kind
head
of response?
generals.
Remember, these people have been conditioned to believe he's a god.
Right.
And SEAL Team 6 takes him out. What kind of response are his generals going to do?
It'd be chaos. It'd be military chaos, but I still, at this point, think that would be the better option of anything. Because, his dad famously said in, I think it was 2005 or 2006 when President Bush was threatening sanctions, he said, if you back us into a hole, we will sell nuclear weapons to the terrorists that are attacking you right now.
Yeah.
So, the crazy runs deep in this family. That's for sure.
Yes, we all understand that the North Korean military will be grossly outmatched in a fight against us.
Yeah, because they're still using ancient military and half of the stuff they show.
Hold on a second. Nobody fights better than a person defending their home.
Right.
And it just may sound like a racial statement, but those guys know how to do guerrilla warfare.
I don't think they would, though. I think if there was an actual military aggression from us, a lot of them would give up because a lot of them are starving.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of them would give up.
So are you saying our weapon would be food?
No.
I'm making a joke. But
yeah.
Of
course we would feed them after we destroyed them, but yeah.
And rebuild the entire country.
Yeah.
And their infrastructure and all that stuff.
Just look at Japan.
Yeah. And look at Afghanistan. Look at Iraq. And we pump millions, billions of dollars still into trying to rebuild they're still living in dirt huts.
Yeah.
And here we are trying to build schools, right, that they blow up and then blame us. Anyway, long story short. But here's the deal. It still rings true. Kim Jong-un is in control of the situation.
Yep.
No matter what the president says, no matter what the Congress said, no matter what idiotic Maxine Waters says, no matter what the media says, you got to understand Kim Jong-un is in control. Ergo, China's in control.
Yeah. Maxine Waters said we should just give him whatever he asks for. That TMZ website had her out from someplace.
I got the story right here. Hold on. Maxine Waters. We're going to do our douche of the week here in a second. Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat, California, told TMZ on Wednesday that the only way to deal with North Korea and its president, Kim Jong-un, is to work with the nation on, quote, things that they're asking for, end quote.
Yeah.
Quote, I want us to be careful, very alert on what is happening to avoid war, Waters said. I think we can do this with some diplomacy. We have got to have Rex Tillerson, who's our Secretary of State, get those positions filled for deputy, for assistant, blah, 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 engage, so that we can engage with North Korea.
Yeah. See, she's blaming it on Trump already.
I think there are some things that they want from us, and we have to find out whether or not we can work with them on the things that they're asking for. They want us dead, you moron.
Right. Or more money so they can further their kilotons.
We are the enemy.
Yeah.
We are the enemy. Look, oh, man, please send her. That's what Huckabee said. What did Huckabee tweet out?
He said
Mike Huckabee, I got it right here. Mike Huckabee says, POTUS has dispatched Maxine Waters to North Korea to talk to Little Kim. After a half hour with her, he will drink whatever he gave his half-brother.
Who he poisoned, by the way, for those of you that don't know.
Gosh, man. It's like, these people, man, they're just crazy.
The disease is bad.
All right. Hey, man. Guys, I'm telling you, listen, if you're listening right now, I'm not a scaremonger. But you need to stock up. You need to be ready. I will tell. I'm not a prepper either.
I was going to say, do you have a fallout shelter?
I have my kids and we don't have a fallout shelter, which you said sales are.
Yeah, they're booming.
But we do have food and candles. We do have we live in a tornado area, so we have a small one, but we've kind of expanded it recently. All right, douche of the week. It's time. Every week we choose the douchiest person that we know. And we have a long list, and we've only got about 9 minutes, but we got a long list of douche. Now, of course, everybody's favorite douche is on there, and our token douche, Kanye West. We're just going to start with our token douche. He's on the list. That's Mr. Producers. He never comes up with one. His is just
Kanye West.
Kanye West. Thank you very much.
I mean, you might,
Congratulations for being our token douche of the week. Now, Earl. You got a list. Go through the list here quickly.
I've got Colin Kaepernick.
Okay, so Kaepernick did not get picked up by the Dolphins.
But he turned down an offer by a team, and they're not saying what team gave him an offer, but he turned it down so that he could further race bait people.
Okay, who would hire Colin Kaepernick? Let's see if we can figure that out. Whose quarterback sucks so bad that they would hire Colin Kaepernick?
The Jets.
That I thought they had Gene, what's his face?
They do, but they're still unsure. And that's another thing he told his agent. He told his agent he didn't want to accept a backup position pay. And he wasn't taking money that was, I think the base pay is like $900,000. And he said he wasn't taking that.
So the Jet still, what is his name? Gino.
Yeah, I think it's Gino.
Something, yeah. Yeah, he didn't do so hot last season. No. Anyway, so they hired Cutler, who was retiring, and the Dolphins hired Cutler. Because they hate black people. All right, moving on. Who's out? Who's next on the list? We got Kaepernick.
Chelsea Handler.
Because
she said that she thinks there should be thought police in this country to stop people from saying things that are hurtful, even though this woman makes her living by saying things that are
hurtful.
Yeah,
yes,
that some people would deem are hurtful.
Yeah, she's just an idiot.
Yeah, she says a lot of things that tiptoe the line of racism.
She on her TV show, which thankfully got canceled. She would have the panel, and if they had the panel right where you had like one person with a brain, then two people without a brain, and the two people without a brain are usually the ticked off gay guy and the ticked off feminist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
then I did Google for firing the employee.
Oh yeah, well,
who wasn't pushing their agenda.
Yeah, it's the diversity guy.
Right, and then they never named these people, but there was a bakery somewhere that refused to bake a Donald Trump cake for the kid that the press secretary talked about. Read his letter openly.
All right.
Patton Oswalt, the comedian.
Yes.
Who said,
doesn't he do the Tonight Show now?
No, I don't think so.
He's on something. Anyway.
He sent out a tweet and said, calling Trump the president is like calling dumb people Einstein. And then a conservative blogger replied by saying, except Donald Trump is the president, Einstein. Which I thought was
great
funny.
reply.
Yeah, and then of course Ashley Judd for having a fit.
Ashley Judd. We're going to talk about her in a little bit. Ashley Judd,
which is an interesting one. And then this dude David Binkle, who was the dude that helped Michelle Obama with her school lunch program.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually been arrested and he's being charged for defrauding the same lunch program. He stole supposedly $65,000 or more from the school lunch program that the Obamas basically gave money to for him to fund.
What a guy.
He was taking it, yeah.
So he was literally stealing the food from children's mouths.
And then the reason, if you remember all the pictures of the school lunch that was coming out, it was crap food. And some people are saying one of the reasons it was so crappy was because he was stealing all the money.
Oh, that's a toss-up now.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, any more?
There's
more?
Yeah, the governor of California says the U.S. should emulate China because China saved globalism.
Who is it? The governor of California?
Yeah, it's Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's a complete and total idiot.
Yeah.
He's also the guy that wanted to. He's the guy who proposed okay, so the California loves their electric cars.
Right.
They love their electric cars. However, so many people are buying electric cars, the state is losing millions in gas tax revenue.
Oh, wow.
So he proposed not only raising the gas tax, but also a surcharge for buying an electric car so that they can recoup. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, the liberal mind. The liberal mind.
The disease.
Freaking brilliant. Man, it's great. Okay. My votes for Ashley Judd or David Binkle. Google can fire anybody they want for any reason, but still, it's Google. That's why I stay away from Google accounts as much as possible.
I know, but that's still a douchey move.
It's everything you said was a douchey move.
Right.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the stealing food.
The food out of the mouth. Yeah.
Or the baker with the Donald Trump cake because the little kid. I mean,
it's a little kid.
That's a douchey move. But the thing is, the baker can refuse to, no
right,
shirt,
and I agree
no
with
shoes,
that.
no service.
But the only reason I brought that up is because, famously there was somebody that wanted a gay cake done by a Christian baker, and they ruined those people's lives. Man. So that's the only reason I brought that up was to kind of go into that argument with it.
All right, we got to choose. We got 4 minutes. What do you think, Mr. Producer? What do you think, Earl?
I'm going to have to I'm
going to have to go with the dude that took the...
David Binkle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with David Binkle. Congratulations, David Binkle! Our douche of the week for literally stealing the food out of children's mouths. Along with your trophy for this week, for being the douche of the week from Earl and George, you get a year's supply of school lunch that you forced down the American children's mouths. Yes. Congratulations. You get to eat the same crap they do.
Your trophy's going to be a lunch tray.
Well done. Well done. All right. When we come back, we are going to talk about Ashley Judd, America's sweetheart. We'll also talk about Russian collusion and, Donald Trump. Donald Trump signed the sanctions against the country that Maxine Waters says he colluded with to help him become... Oh, my head hurts now. Russia kicks out 700-plus embassy workers.
Yep.
We'll get Donald Trump's remarks on that when we come back next hour on Earl and George. Don't go anywhere.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Mama always said that if you keep making that face, it's going to stay that way. You're listening to Earl and George.
Welcome back. Second hour of Earl and George, aged conservative talk. If you haven't been to our website and you have a complaint about it, call Earl. I'm just kidding, man. Go to the website, spam it to all your friends. Is there a place where they can email us, or are we just going through the Facebook? If you
It's just Facebook.
If you go to Facebook, go to Earl and George, you'll notice there's two crazy, stunningly attractive dudes on Facebook. It's EG Official Earl,
right?
EG Official George, so that nobody can steal our identities. Because somebody who wants to steal our identities.
I'm working to get us
or
verified,
not.
too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that do for?
Where it gives us the official little blue mark, tells people we're official podcasters and everything. Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money and more to come, baby. I can't wait to get the store up.
Right.
I can't wait to get the store up and actually, start taking money from you people. No, I'm just kidding. I can't wait to get the store up so that we can start getting some of our great merchandise out there. We're going to get everything, man. We're going to do it all. We're going to do it right. Okay. And if you're just joining the show this hour, be sure to spam that like button. Be sure to give us some hearts on Spreaker and spread it around. If you're on SoundCloud, if you've downloaded, if you've subscribed on iTunes, thank you guys so much. And yes, that's like baiting, and I don't care. So that's how we're going to do it. This hour, we're going to talk about Ashley Judd. Somebody called her sweetheart, and all hell broke loose at an airport. We're also talking about we're going to talk about some Russian collusion. And, of course, the biggest news stories of the week. But I want to start with the sanctions. So President Trump he signed begrudgingly, I might add, signed the bill that put sanctions on Russia for, quote unquote, their meddling in the U.S. election, which, by the way, they've done since they were Russia,
right?
And which they're going to continue to do. FYI, America, we do the same stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so this whole Russian meddling thing, to us, not a really big deal. Our system is so broken up, and each state has their own system that you have to hack 50-plus computer systems just per state, right? It's not going to happen. Anyway, can they change? Can they mess about? Yes. Can they influence our election? Probably not. What influences our election more than anything else is all the stupid crap these politicians are hiding from us on their email servers.
Right.
That's really what it is. But in response to the sanctions, the Russians kicked out 700-plus embassy workers.
Wow.
And a news reporter, cut 6, a news reporter asked the president what his response was going to be.
Mr. President, do you have any response to the Russian president expelling 755 workers from our embassy?
No, I want to thank him because we're trying to cut down on payroll. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm very thankful that he let go of a large number of people because
that's
now
awesome.
we have a smaller payroll. There's no real reason for them to go back. So I greatly appreciate the fact that they've been able to cut our payroll for the United States. We'll save a lot of money.
CNN headline, Trump admits that he's friends with Russia.
Yeah, right. You know what that was? Hey, Russian president, F you. That's literally what the guy said, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's like,
we were planning on cutting payroll anyway.
Yeah, he's like, we're trying to cut payroll, so they kick out 700 of our workers. Who cares? They'll come back here because there are now boatloads of jobs available in the United States. Did you see the report this past, of course, this is a weekend show. It's Saturday, so we talked about what happened last week. So last week the report came out. They're like I got to look it up, man. Look up the jobs report. I heard it on the news. I want to say 65,000, but it could be like 6 million or something. So,
dude, if it's 6 million, that's
I think
great.
it's 65,000 open jobs.
No.
What is it?
6 million.
6 million.
It's
yeah.
6.8. Or no, it's 6 million job openings, and 6.8 million Americans are looking for jobs.
So think about it. We almost
that's awesome.
We almost have enough job openings for the amount of people that are looking for work. Isn't that incredible?
Awesome.
Incredible.
Not even in a year. In his first year, and he's already fixed a lot of it.
Now, here's the problem. Most Americans, and yeah, I'm talking to you, are too stupid to get the jobs that are available. Why? Because we are failing them in our public schools, in our math. We're indoctrinating them into this liberal mindset disease in our colleges. We're not giving them the trade skills to be welders and carpenters. We are failing as a country, as a culture, as a society. We have 6 million job openings and 6 million people trying to find work.
Yep.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I was out of work and had nothing else to do, I'm picking lettuce.
All right, I'm doing whatever I have to.
I've said it before. I will mop the floors in order to feed my kids.
Yep.
But that's not a work ethic that most people have. They pay it lip service. Man, I'll do anything to take care of my kids.
Yeah.
You mean the 4 illegitimate children you have with the 3 women that you dated when you were in high school? That's the kind of thing we talk about now in our society. But I want to give hats off to the president. Within the confines of the executive branch, he has done an amazing job in 6 months.
Yes, he has.
Now, Russia collusion. Cue up cut 5. Here is our favorite representative from the great state of California, Maxine Waters.
Talking about strategies that were developed working with the Trump campaign.
Hold on.
Really do.
Hold on. So this is not from this past week. This was from a while ago. This is from maybe last year sometime. Maxine Waters on MSNBC, and here's what she said.
I am talking about strategies that were developed working with the Trump campaign. I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook. I think that
how does she know? Has she seen Putin's playbook?
Absolutely, calling Hillary crooked, lock her up, all of that was developed. I think that was developed strategically with people from the Kremlin, with Putin, and I think it's more than bank records. I think that you can see that visit, to Moscow.
Just to be clear, there has been no actual evidence yet.
No, it has not been. No, it has not.
That's my favorite part.
And I want you to know, every time I've talked about impeachment, I've said we've got to connect the dots, we've got to get the facts, we've got to do the investigation. That is what leads to impeachment. And I also said that Trump will lead us right there.
And as of yet, nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. Now, here's Trump's remark. Now, again, that was Maxine Waters, representative from California, the lunatic. I'm going to send her a shirt. Congratulations, lunatic, right? Last year. Oh, wait. Stop the tape. Stop. Computer, stop it. Here's President Trump's remarks from just a couple days ago. Cut 8.
You look at the councils that come in. We have a Senate hearing. We have Judiciary, we have Intelligence, so we have a House hearing, and everybody walks out, even the enemies. They said, there's no collusion. So they're investigating something that never happened. There was no collusion between us and Russia. In fact, the opposite. Russia spent a lot of money on fighting me. And if you think about it, I want a strong military. You see our budget is up by, I say, is work with them, because this is an event that never took place. Now, judging from the people leaving the meetings, leaks, but they leave the meetings all the time, and they say, no, we haven't found any collusion. There is no collusion. You know why? Because I don't speak to Russians. Look, I won because I suppose I was a much better candidate than her. I won because I went to Wisconsin. I went to Michigan. I won Pennsylvania. I fought a smart battle. That's why I win. I didn't win because of Russia. Russia had nothing to do with me winning.
Yep, absolutely. And there was a mix-up in editing in the middle there when he was talking about the military. However, Dateline Washington, what was it, Thursday? FBI agents raided the home of President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort. This was in July. Agents seized. No, it says last month. What in the world are you doing here? It says last month, but this literally was like it happened this week.
Yeah.
I don't know why it says last month in this. Oh, it's CNN. That's why, because they can't read a calendar. Agents seized materials in Manafort's home as part of the ongoing Russia investigation led by Justice Department Special Counsel Robert Mueller. FBI agents executed a search warrant at one of Mr. Manafort's residences. Mr. Manafort has consistently cooperated with law enforcement and other serious inquiries and did so on this occasion as well, end quote, says James Milani, spokesman for Manafort. Declined to provide further details. The so-called no-knock warrant, which was first reported by the Washington Post, was served at Manafort's home in D.C. in Washington's Northern Virginia suburbs on July 26th, the day after Manafort met with Senate. Why are we just hearing about this?
I don't know.
I thought this happened last week.
That last week's when they started reporting on it.
Oh, so it did happen in July. Sorry, CNN, you still suck. The tactic appears usual for a case that has been under investigation for months and for which Manafort has already turned over hundreds of pages of documents to Senate investigators. So they did this like raid.
Yeah. A no-knock warrant, which has been challenged in court several times.
On a guy who's helping them.
Right. He's been cooperating. Most of Trump's people have been cooperating.
Do you know why they did this? Let's just break this down. Why did they do this? He's been cooperating with them. There's only one reason why they did this, super secret, no knock, just bust in warrant on your house.
Right. On one of his houses.
For the headline.
Huh.
Mueller, who knows there's no collusion, who knows there's no evidence of collusion, continues to hire Clinton donors and supporters to find, as Maxine Waters says, connect the dots.
Right.
Right? The guy who's been helping them in the investigation and cooperating with the investigation, there's only one reason why they would bust into his house to do that.
To keep it in the headline.
Because it's an optic.
Yep.
It looks good, and it keeps it in the headlines. Exactly right. Oh, no, they did a no-knock warrant on Manafort. The president's going down.
Yep.
No, he's already given them hundreds of pages of documents. There's no reason for this.
And they've already proven that Hillary Clinton was the one that was benefiting more from the Russians in the last election anyway, because they wanted more of our uranium. So
since his appointment in May, Mueller has quietly gathered a team of more than 36 attorneys, investigators, and other staff in a nondescript office in Washington. Officials familiar with the probe describe it as akin to a small U.S. attorney's office, with FBI agents and prosecutors assigned to separate groups looking into various aspects of the investigation. These include groups of investigators and lawyers focused separately on Russian collusion and obstruction of justice, which, of course, there is none, as well as the investigations focused on Manafort and former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Of course, there is no evidence of any of it. U.S. officials briefed the investigation, told CNN. So far, Trump's campaign has turned over approximately 20,000 pages of Senate Judiciary Committee, which is investigating Russia's interference in the election, while Manafort turned over approximately 400 pages and Donald Trump Jr. turned over 250. Fusion GPS, the firm that compiled the dossier at the center of the Russian probe, has not yet turned over any documents.
Dude.
So the company that said, we got Russian collusion, has done nothing. So we're issuing no-knock warrants on the people in Trump's campaign that are supporting, that are helping, that are cooperating with the investigation, and the people who made the initial allegation have done nothing. According to the it is absolutely a witch hunt. According to the committee's spokesman, though, the firm plans to provide the committee with thousands of pages of documents Wednesday. Okay, that was like 4 days ago. No, it didn't happen.
Huh?
Yeah,
I thought you meant like next Wednesday.
I don't know. Sure, why not? I mean, this was from Thursday, so maybe it's next Wednesday. Who cares? They're not going to do it, and there's nothing there. There's zero evidence that any of it, ever happened.
Wow.
And we are spending how much money?
That's what Trump gets so mad about.
I posted something on Earl and George on Facebook, and it had to be Maxine Waters.
Yeah,
because during the when everybody was talking about the birther thing, about Obama's birth certificate, this is the exact same thing in reverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
They called them teabaggers, they called them birthers, and there was no evidence of it. And like he put out like 5 different birth certificates, and none of them were real, right?
Yep.
And we were all lunatics, and now it's the pendulum is completely swung, right? Now, do I believe the president was born in Hawaii? Yes. Do I believe he was legitimately elected the president of the United States? Yes. I'm not a birther. It's over and done with. I think it was the biggest scam that has ever been appropriated to the United States. However, now the pendulum is completely swung the other way, and we have people out there talking about impeachment of a president for nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Right? There's no evidence. All you have is a bunch of people screaming about something they believe happened. There's no evidence that it happened. We're hiring people to find out whether it happened. We're connecting the dots. None of it ever happened.
They're creating the dots.
They're
to connect
creating the dots to connect them. And we are attacking the people who are supporting the investigation. Why? Because it looks good on CNN's front cover.
Yep.
We'll be right back to talk about Ashley Judd, America's sweetheart. It's Earl and George. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Mom. Is Claire's birthday party today? Me again, Mom. Where did I put my history book? Hi. Sorry, forgot one last thing. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate. At school, I start looking out the window, and then I forget what I was supposed to be thinking about. I know it seems like I don't care, but I do. It's just difficult for me. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Join parents and experts at Understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive. Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody, it's George from Earl and George. I just want to thank you guys for listening to this week's show and invite you to check us out on Facebook at Earl and George. Also, go to earlandgeorge.com. And remember, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, listen on TuneIn, download Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google thing. I don't know what that is. Earl set that up. But look, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the show and continue to tell your friends and tell your neighbors about Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk.
Hey, you, over yonder. You're listening to Earl and George. Doggone right.
I like that one.
That's fun, man. Hey, we want to thank everybody for supporting what we do here, supporting the show. Soon, you'll be able to support the show by buying all of our sweet
swag.
Earl and George gear, our swag. How do you like that new shirt, man?
I
like the new with the yeah, that's good stuff. Again, we were trying to, that's one of our test shirts, so it might be a little off. It might not be in the perfect
That's
spot,
fine.
but we're kind of moving stuff around, but it's good stuff. The store will be coming up pretty soon, and we are in so many places right now. I can't even list them all. Like we're all over the place.
I put us everywhere,
but it's good stuff. Now, one more North Korea story, and it has to do with Mad Dog Mattis, General James Mattis. He's awesome.
Yes, he is.
Can I just say he's awesome? When you have one of the call signs as Agent Chaos, I love it.
I think he's going to go down in history as being one of our better Secretary of Defense.
Man, good stuff. I got to meet the Undersecretary of Defense several years ago, and I don't remember his name. I'm going to remember Agent Chaos.
Right.
Dana Loesch put out a story. Here it is. The Washington Post report revealed that North Korea is now capable of reaching the U.S. mainland with nuclear weapons. According to the Defense Intelligence Agency, Kim Jong-un's regime has developed a miniaturized nuclear device which could potentially be used as warheads for intercontinental ballistic missiles. The report says the North Korean leader has threatened to use, quote, absolute force, end quote, against President Donald Trump in retaliation for the president's promise to meet threats against the U.S. with, quote, fire and fury like the world has never seen, end quote. Now, Earl?
Yep.
Wednesday, Secretary of Defense John Mattis issued a harsh warning for Kim Jong-un's regime.
He said they should cease any consideration of actions that would lead to the end of its regime and the destruction of its people. That's one of the parts that's being quoted the most. But the ending of the entire press release, he says, the DPRK regime's actions will continue to be grossly overmatched by ours and would lose any arms race or conflict it initiates. And that was the end of it.
Within a matter of days.
Yeah, yeah.
We have perfected the blitzkrieg when you think about it.
Yeah.
We have because of our advanced technology, and yes, we are stretched thin, man. We got people doing operations all over the place, and our military is tired.
Yeah.
However, we're ready. Okay.
And then Obama cutting it didn't help.
I mean, the president said we're quote unquote we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go if needs be. However, we're going to be going down the diplomacy route. That's the only way we can.
Yep.
But China and Kim Jong-un, they're in control. They're in control of the situation. You can't walk up, smack a dude, right? Get smacked back and go, "How dare you?"
Right.
"How dare you smack me back?" Well, you smacked me first. That's irrelevant. You smacked me, right? You can't do it. Okay. Let's see. Ashley Judd. I don't know what to do.
Psycho. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Other than the fact that in my brain, when I hear Ashley Judd speak, the Mr. Producer's not getting my vibe here. When I hear Ashley Judd speak, in my brain, it sounds a lot like North Korean television.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사 성공.
Now, if you think I'm wrong, Mr. Producer, pull up YouTube. In fact, don't even pull up. I can. I think I can send this to you. Hold on, let me see if I can send this to you. Let's see. We're gonna. This is live radio, by the way.
Yeah. Testing.
Yes.
We need some Jeopardy music.
No. Stop.
What?
Stop.
Oh no.
Stop. Sound effects. No. Good. Okay. We're gonna go here.
Problem solved.
Yeah. We're gonna go here. Let's see how good I am.
Modern technology.
Let's see how good I am. Watch this. Let's see if I can take control of his.
Well, I know you can.
Let's see. Watch this.
What?
I'm in the other room, and I'm gonna take control. What? Type the. There we go.
See?
There we go.
Yep.
No. Watch this. I'm gonna take control of his computer. Check this out.
I'm waiting.
Bang. He's gonna be like, I've lost control. Oh, partner uses a newer version. I got to update my version on this old machine in here.
Okay. So go to YouTube?
Yes. So just go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube. Just type in Ashley Judd's epic nasty woman speech. That's a lot. Just type in Ashley Judd epic.
You'll make me listen to that again.
Just type in Ashley Judd epic. And now while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and update. I'm going to update this. It's cool. Whatever. You got it?
2 seconds.
Okay. I know I put you on the spot with this one. We didn't have a cut, but Ashley Judd, America's Sweetheart, was in was in Atlanta.
I think it was Atlanta because of the video she did. It was a live video or live stream on Facebook.
So
she said,
just real quick, just play the North Korean TV thing one more time.
Okay.
This is what Ashley Judd sounds like in my brain.
광명성 3호 2호기 위성 발사
Dude, it kills me.
성공.
It kills me when I hear it. Okay, now play the Ashley Judd thing.
It might have an ad. Let's see.
Oh, if it has an ad, we'll just play it loud and proud.
Michael.
Ashley!
My name is Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd is here.
And I am a feminist. And I want to
Wait,
say
pause it.
hello to
Pause it.
Independence Avenue.
Pause it. I'm a feminist too, by the way.
Yeah.
I married a woman.
Right.
And I have 3 daughters.
Yep.
I'm a huge feminist.
Yep, me too.
Okay? I like women. I'm all about women. I want them to be smart and intelligent and free and have all the liberty. And my kids ask me, Dad, what can I do? I'm a baby. You can do anything you want.
Yep.
By the way, I call my kids baby. You can do anything you want. You can put anything, your time, talent, testimony, treasure. You put it all out there because you know what? You're an American citizen and you're free.
Yep.
I'm a huge feminist. Go.
Back all the the way down to 17th Street.
Wow.
Doesn't it sound like the North Korean TV woman?
And I bring you words from Nina Donovan.
Nina
a
Donovan.
19-year-old in Middle Tennessee, and she has given me the privilege of telling you what she has to say.
It's a nasty poem.
I am a nasty woman.
Oh. No, Ashley.
I'm
No.
not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust.
What?
A man whose words are a
What?
diss track to
All
America.
right. Kill all that. I can't
listen to it
I can't
again.
do it, man. So Ashley Judd, was we think in Atlanta?
Yeah, because she said that she was in one of the most heaviest trafficked airports in the world.
And I don't know what she means by that, because...
And then the verbiage, too, also means it's kind of in the South.
I know, but did she mean by traffic like people traffic or traffic like human traffic?
I don't know. That's just what she said.
Okay. So Ashley Judd shows up in Atlanta. By the way, I travel through Atlanta twice a month.
Right.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is.
I got a question.
And I don't have the money that Ashley Judd has. But thankfully, she has to go through security because that lunatic will wear a bomb vest one day. Go.
So she's fighting for equality, but she's dissing men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This does not make sense.
Again, I go back to what I said earlier. You can't have equality and diversity at the same time.
One of them's got to go.
Now, she's outspoken feminist and actress Ashley Judd. Please, Hollywood, stop hiring this woman.
I don't think she's worked in
You're
years.
you're being an enabler. Just stop it. Made her headlines, blah, 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 blah. Hopped on Facebook Live at the airport over the weekend to complain about, quote, everyday sexism. That was dealt to her. She began with a greeting courtesy. I'm coming through security, and a guy said, "Hey, sweetheart," Judd told her viewers. And I said, "I'm not your sweetheart. I'm your client." Judge said she simply was, quote, setting a boundary, end quote, by pushing back.
Right.
Okay. One of our new liners. Go ahead and play it. It's the one that says, when you're in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Play it.
You know you're in the South when everyone calls you darling or hun or sweetheart, and you don't care. You're listening to aged conservative
That's right.
talk.
And
that
you
was,
don't care.
That was recorded before this, by the way.
Yes, it was. Now, Ashley Judd, right, who lives in Texas.
Yeah.
She's a Texan.
Right.
What the heck is wrong with this woman?
I have no idea. She's
was it
got
because
a
it was
disease.
a man? A man called her sweetheart?
Well, she said it was sexist, so yeah.
Then when I was setting my things out, why was she setting her things out?
She said in the video she was putting them on the doohickey.
Oh, on the yes.
Yeah.
On the okay.
Okay, I got a point to make about
Yes,
that
please.
because when you're a kid, it doesn't matter really if you're a boy or a girl. You can still be called sweetheart.
Yeah.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean?
Well, mostly in the South.
Yeah.
I doubt your dad would say that. But
And
your
they
mom
call
would
you sweetheart when you go through the Wendy's drive-through, man.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean,
yeah,
around here, you know what I mean? You know what I mean,
Yeah.
sweetheart?
I do, darling.
So she's setting her things out.
On
What
the
does that
doohickey.
mean? And apparently the guy says, "Hey, nice dress."
Mm-hmm.
Now, Judd clearly put off as she recounted the worker's compliment.
Right.
Noted that there were no other attire compliments for any other passengers in security. Now, there are 400 people going through security through 9 lanes in Atlanta.
Right.
Have you been there recently?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Dude, their security system is like a quarter-mile long. Of course, Ashley Judd monitored the entire quarter mile to make sure that nobody else was talking about, "Hey, sir, that's a really nice suit."
Right.
"Oh, I love those shoes." "Oh, that hat's really cute, ma'am." Right? No, none of that happened. It was only that one lane that she was going through TSA and that one sexist pig who wanted to give her a compliment about her dress.
I wonder if she even sat in the line the whole time, or if she had somebody like hold her place and then she came running up.
Oh, I
She's just a
guarantee you.
Celebrity,
Yeah.
yeah.
And at that point, why did she not pay the $80 for TSA pre-check?
I
mean,
guess not.
My broke butt does, because
Yeah.
I don't want to take my computer out of my bag and my shoes off and all that. And she doesn't say anything about her shoes. I'm assuming she's going through pre-check.
All right.
Because she's a celebrity.
Right.
Let's see. Then she said, while she was conversing with the female security worker, the man who had been annoying her crossed the biggest line yet.
Yeah,
what did he do, Mr. Producer? What did he do?
Called her sweetheart.
She already did that.
No,
and he
no.
complimented her on the dress.
Okay.
Earl,
I already know what he did.
quote unquote, he touched me.
Yeah.
Like what?
Bum bum. Ah!
So like, is this just like a one finger like on the shoulder touch?
Perhaps, or
a graze on her hand,
or a grasp of the elbow to get her out of the damn line.
Right.
Judd 49 didn't elaborate on how, where, or for what reason the male worker touched her, but she told Facebook viewers it angered her.
Yeah, she called like a manager or whatever over.
I didn't see him touch anyone else, and I turned around and I said, that was unnecessary, end quote. But, this is still quoting, by the time, my skin was burning, my feet were burning, she recalled. It's so hard to continue to set these boundaries when someone continues to push. But the guy apparently wasn't done. Quote, and then for good measure, he just said one more time, have a good day, sweetheart.
See, at that time, he was just pissed.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
But the freak out, and this was her first Facebook Live that she has ever done, too, by the way, because she said it in the video. She said that, her first Facebook Live had to be about sexism in the world and sexual assault.
Sexual assault, yeah. Yep. She posted a second Facebook Live video, quote, I'm happy to report that the manager with whom I spoke immediately apologized, because that's what's important. It's all about her feelings, right? Immediately apologized because I had a list of items to review with him, including being called sweetheart. Judd said, adding that the manager apologized and said, quote, touching someone is totally inappropriate, end quote, and that he'd had a conversation with the worker. She said that the manager told Judd something along the lines of, quote, just because 99 people don't speak up doesn't mean it's okay.
Wow.
Judd's follow-up Facebook Live, which has been viewed 444,000 times. Got to share positive comments. Judd seems to have been drawing more. Should I read the positive comments?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm a 54. Quote. This is one of the comments. I'm a 54-year-old married woman from Texas, and I would be flattered. Okay. Sorry. Got it. Share positive comments along with the 11,000 posted, but the following women didn't agree. Quote. I'm a 54-year-old married woman from Texas, and I would be flattered if I was called sweetheart. I was raised to see that as a form of respect. Proud to be a Texan. That's Shanna Horton McGee. You go, girl. You go, sweetheart.
Yep.
Quote, sweetheart is a kind of endearing word, Allison Simmons said. Funny how being kind is now politically incorrect. Do liberals just sit around all day and think of reasons to be offended? Yes, Allison. Yes, they do. Yes, absolutely they do. My mother gets offended constantly. Absolutely constantly. Okay. Here's another one. Quote, what a horrendous attempt to stay relevant, threatening someone's livelihood.
Yeah.
Ashley Mary. Quote, do you know what women are being beaten to death and having acid thrown on them? Get over yourself, sweetheart.
Yeah, I like that one.
Quote, you tried to get a working man fired for calling you sweetheart, Carlene Sloan Colgan said. He probably makes $12 an hour to support his family. You are the epitome of the entitled elitist, and you are not doing women any favors. And they go on and on and on. America's sweetheart.
Yeah.
Ashley Judd.
Which, by the way, she
runner-up for Douche of the Week. I just want to say.
Yeah.
Runner-up.
She was pretty close to winning,
it was
until we talked about the guy stealing food from lunch. I mean, it's pretty bad to go against somebody that's stealing lunch from kids, so... But she is working, by the way. She's on that new TV series, Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah.
I just had to look her up.
So I just checked the picture of the rally in defiance that North Korea held in defiance of Donald Trump, and they are holding their hands up in the Nazi salute, except they're not actually making the Nazi salute. They're holding out a fist. So it's like a fist Nazi salute. Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
You know what that reminds me of? And this Wolverines.
No, that's straight up.
Oh, straight up.
That's over your head. Holding a rifle, I might add.
Yeah.
You have to hold it over your head with your AK-47 in your hand. Did you know that this week was when the Red Dawn was released? I think it was the 10th. Yeah, I think it was a couple days ago. In
the
19,
original. The better.
I never saw the second one.
Don't waste your time.
All right. I'll take your advice. Okay, when we come back, we'll talk about Hillary Clinton's election loss. Somehow, it's still in the news.
Right.
And you said something about the DOJ before the show when we were doing our show prep. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's Earl and George, earlandgeorge.com. Just Google Earl and George. Once our SEO kicks in, we'll be the entire first page of Google. However, that's not very diverse, so they'll probably fire us. We'll be right back.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Mama was always right, because she said so. You're listening to Earl and George.
Yes, she was. And the last thing you wanted Mama to do was point outside and say, go get me a switch.
Yep.
Because your Mongolian wild ass was in trouble. That's all I'm saying.
Especially if you came back with a little one.
Yeah. You got to come. You need to come back with a horse whip.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Go chop down the whole
That's
tree.
Right. It's Earl and George, Aged Conservative Talk. My name is George.
And I'm Earl.
Mr. Producer's mashing buttons and playing all kinds of fun stuff. 6 months ago, right around November-ish, the world was shocked.
Shocked?
The world was shocked because the queen of politics, the leader of the Democratic Party,
who was already celebrating that she won.
Oh my! They were celebrating the day she beat out what's his face, Bernie Sanders, and they had to cheat to do that.
Yep.
I just point that out. Yeah, she was on her way to the White House. The glass ceiling she talked about, the glass ceiling
shattering
the glass ceiling, and because she was such a horrible candidate, and I believe her body double was such a horrible candidate, they failed. Donald Trump was elected. On November 9th, the Friday after the election, Hillary Clinton's pastor, executive director Reverend Bill Shillady, is that how I say it? Shillady?
I think so.
Shillady? From United Methodist City Society, whatever that is.
All right, for real, that doesn't sound like
It's not even whatever. Sent the now very distraught Hillary Clinton a letter. Entitled, you entitle a letter. It's entitled, Sunday is Coming. November 9th, 2016.
I hate this story so much.
And here's what the Reverend Bill Shillady, maybe, let's say Shillady, wrote to the former First Lady. It is Friday. Sunday is coming. This is not the devotional I had hoped to write. This is not the devotional you wish to receive this day. While Good Friday may be the starkest representation of a Friday that we have, life is filled with lots of Fridays. No kidding, Bill. For the disciples and Christ's followers of the first century, Good Friday represented the day that everything fell apart. All was lost. The momentum and hope of a man claiming to be the Son of God, the Messiah, who was supposed to change everything, had been executed. Even though Jesus told his followers 3 days later the temple would be restored, they had no idea of what that Sunday would be. They betrayed, denied, mourned, fled, and hid. They did just about everything but feel good about Friday and their circumstances. For us, Friday is the phone call from the doctor that the cancer is back. It's the news that you have lost your job. It's the betrayal of a friend, the loss of someone dear. Friday is the day that it all falls apart and all hope is lost. We all have Fridays, but as the saying goes, Sunday's coming. Today, you are experiencing a Friday. Your Friday is what happened in the last few weeks and last night in the tragic loss. But Sunday is coming.
Such a tragedy.
Jesus completed the excruciating task of giving up his life as a sacrifice for the sins of the world. It was his faith and belief in his Heavenly Father that gave him the grace and peace to submit to Friday. While death had seemingly won, Jesus knew better. When he said, "It is finished," it wasn't meant to be a statement of concession. It was a declaration that a new day was on the way. Friday is finished. Sunday is coming. Death will be shattered. Hope will be restored. But first, we must live through the darkness and seeming hopelessness of Friday. You know, one of my favorite sayings is, quote, "God doesn't close one door without opening another, but it can be hell in the hallway," end quote. My sister Hillary, you, our nation, our world is experiencing a Black Friday. Our hope is that Sunday is coming, but it might be hell for a while. Those words written to Hillary Clinton from Reverend Bill Shalady, comparing the loss of a political election to Donald Trump.
This got my skin crawling.
With
just
the
thinking
death
about
and resurrection of Jesus Christ. How could you even make that comparison? By the way, did you like my read?
Yes, I did.
That was pro right there, baby.
Like you do it for a living.
Sweetheart. How do you make the leap from you're living through a Friday because you lost an election, right? In the most amazing way possible, you lost the election.
It was a bad defeat.
And compare that to the sacrifice taking on the sins of the world.
And then comparing Friday to be a bad day, though.
Like Jesus.
That's not a bad day. That was technically kind of a good day.
That was the day he saved the planet,
right?
If you believe in that. But however, there's right at the beginning, man. And you know what really caught me off guard is when United Methodist City Society Executive Director Reverend Bill Shalady said this.
It wasn't his title?
No. He said, the momentum and hope of a man claiming to be the Son of God, the Messiah. Why does a reverend use the word claiming?
Well, he could mean because, the Jews don't believe that he was the Messiah.
Some of the Jews don't believe he was the Messiah.
Right.
But the thing is, I don't understand why he would use that language. But whatever. I don't see how you can make the leap. And the picture they chose of Hillary Clinton was like,
yeah, there's absolutely no comparison. That's equating her to supposedly saving the world, and that's it's far from it.
Crazy, man. Again, liberal mindset.
Right now,
liberal mindset.
That's like I said, the whole time you were reading it, my skin was crawling.
However, Hillary Clinton was not only in the news because of that.
Right.
She got some good news.
Well, possibly
good news, Earl.
There's a report coming out that's been reported by 3 news organizations now that I respect. Well, 2 of them that I respect.
2.5.
Yeah, The Blaze and the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's site, and then Newsmax is the third one. That Hillary Clinton has a possible plea bargain on the table, but she has to admit to guilt for her to get the Justice Department plea deal. And
so is this for the classified information leaks?
The source, air quotes, source says that it's supposed to be for the destruction of federal property, which is what we were talking about
last week with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Imran Awan.
Yeah, it's supposedly because of that, and there is some underlining, according to the article, there's some underlining parts of the emails that were destroyed. So the emails are not really, what they're sticking to, or it's although they did open
physical destruction of the hard drive.
Right, but they did open another investigation into it to see how deep it goes, and they opened an investigation into
I just want to explain to people, we're going to take a break here in just a minute, but I want to explain to people what the big deal was with all of that. We weren't on the air during the time. So I served in the military. I'm a veteran. I served 17 years in the Army. My last posting was the Special Forces Group. And I had a security clearance. And when you have a security clearance, you're vetted, okay? They do an investigation. You fill out a form called a SF-87, and it goes back a certain number of years for a secret clearance, and then a lot more years for a top secret clearance. All of these people that are in government at that level, like, I don't know, a U.S. senator or just randomly picking another cabinet post, Secretary of State, have to go through the same vetting process. Now, part of that process is you take classes on how to properly handle classified government material. You learn the difference between FOUO. You learn the difference between a confidential document and a secret document and a top secret document and a document that is outside of that, which is called a top secret SCI, which is something compartmentalized information, especially it's TSSCI, which is one level above top secret.
Wow.
And there are multiple levels within the government, right, all the way to the President of the United States, who has the highest clearance of anybody in the country. Now, she had to take the same classes to be vetted as Secretary of State. Part of that is you sign documents that state you will properly handle classified material, or these things happen, which are a matter of law. You could be prosecuted. You could have fines to pay. You could, based on the level of spillage.
And they're pretty much all felonies too, aren't they?
Like every one of them. It's called spillage. It's unsecured classified information spillage. She signed the documents somewhere in the vast archives of our bloated government monstrosity is a document with Hillary Clinton's signature at the bottom of it that says, I understand I will treat classified material properly, or these things will happen to me.
Right.
Now, if we could find that document and submit it to the courts, that is willful knowledge of destruction of classified material that you go away for a long time.
Right.
Right. We're talking Chelsea Manning go away. We're talking
without a pardon.
Yeah. We're talking Snowden.
Yeah.
Jail time. Right. Because she willingly destroyed classified information. She willingly destroyed because she signed a document that said, I understand the rules and I understand the consequences.
Yep.
But she did it anyway.
Yep.
That's the document we need to be finding.
There was actually two people though that said that they don't think she'll ever take the plea because she would have to admit she's wrong, and they said we see how she blamed everybody but herself for the loss in 2016.
Yes, and now her pastor has blamed God. We'll be right back to wrap up this show. Remember, tell your friends, tell your neighbors if you're just listening to us. On Spreaker, we're going to be able to do some interaction. So get ready on Spreaker if you haven't downloaded Spreaker. And I think we're coming out. We're talking about our own mobile app, Earl and George.
Yeah,
so you can just listen to it, and then you can text us and so on. We're getting there. We'll be right back to wrap up the show. Don't go anywhere. You might miss the most important 10 minutes of your life. Or not.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Earl and George, broadcasting from the great state of Alabama. Roll Tide.
That's what I'm talking about. And War Eagle for all my Auburn fans out there. And, we know we're across the country.
Go
but
Blazers.
Look, go Blazers. That's right. People in Oregon are like, what? Who are the, what is Blazers? This is a political, it's aged conservative talk, but we are two dudes from Alabama, and we are not going to get out of a show without talking about college football, because in less than 3 weeks.
Right.
3 weeks. By the way, in the NFL preseason, the Redskins took a shellacking from the Ravens.
I didn't see it. I heard about it, though.
This week they beat them 28-3 or something like that. Man, they whooped the Redskins. And also the Patriots lost. I like the Patriots and the Seahawks. The Patriots lost to this is all preseason NFL stuff. The Patriots lost to the Jaguars.
Wow.
Everybody's down in preseason, down in training camp yet. So, but college football is big in Alabama, and of course, we're both football fans. And And I just want to say, according to ESPN.com, the Alabama Crimson Tide, #1 again. Now, Clemson, for some reason, Alabama gets all the way to the finals and loses. We lost to Clemson last year. We lost to Ohio State the year before that. It's been 3 years since we won a national championship, or
I think
4.
so.
It's been 3 or 4. Didn't we lose to Florida State like that? Like we get all the way to the national. We win every game except one. Last year,
Right.
we won every game but one. It was the Clemson game. And here's my thing. This year I'm not doing it, but every year, because I'm an Alabama fan, every year I'm like, oh man, Clemson, they got nothing for us. By the way, the head coach of Clemson, Dabo Swinney, he went to high school like a mile from here.
Yeah,
he's huge where we are.
Right.
And so his team, I'm not going to say it, but anyway, he's bigger on here. Everybody loves Dabo, and now he's the head coach of Clemson. But Clemson, the national champions from last year, came in at number 5.
Which is horrible.
That's unreal.
They should have at least been number 2.
Higher than Ohio State.
Yeah.
They should have been bigger than Ohio State, but they weren't. So here's the top 10. We're going to go top 10.
This is the coaches poll, by the way.
This is the coaches poll. Top 10. Wisconsin comes in at number 10. We'll start with number 13 because that's Auburn. Auburn comes in number 13. Number 12, LSU. Why are they even in the top?
I don't know.
20?
Who's their coach now?
Who knows? Do you think he has a hooker and weed budget? Last one did. Oklahoma State coming in number 11. Wisconsin number 10. Michigan. I've always loved Michigan. I don't know why, but I've always liked Michigan. Oklahoma coming in at number 8. Oklahoma looks to be real good this year.
Right.
I think OU is going to do something this season. Washington Huskies. Now, huge. Now, look, my 2 teams, I'm going to tell you right now, they're the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. My 2 college teams are Alabama Roll Tide, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the Washington Huskies. I love the Huskies.
Why?
Because I used to live in Seattle. My dad he used to teach at University.
Oh, okay.
I was supposed to go to the University of Washington.
War Eagle.
You're an Auburn fan? Good for you.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Darling.
Number 13, sweetheart. So Washington Huskies, number 7. When they played Alabama last year, it was a cringe where I was just like, it was the whole most horrible. It was like Seattle and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Right? 2 years ago. Which, by the way, that was pass interference. Okay, number 6, Penn State.
Wow.
And now we're going to talk. We're going to talk from here up. Number 5, Clemson. What do you think, Clemson?
I said.
Why do you think they came in number 5 instead of number 2? They're national champions.
I can't believe Ohio State, Florida State, and USC all have better rankings than them.
And by the way, I believe those 3 teams lost their starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, they did. And Florida State's season, they didn't make it. No, they did make it to their championship last year, didn't they? Florida State made it to their bowl game. So that
well, they made it to a bowl game, but they're in the SEC.
But they didn't. So they didn't make it to.
They didn't make it to the SEC championship.
Florida State's not in the SEC.
I thought they were.
No, they're in the ACC or whatever.
Oh, I need to look that up.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I'm
man?
pretty sure about that.
Who was the?
Because the Gators are in the SEC.
Then who? Oh, that's right. They're in the Atlantic Conference.
They're in the ACC.
So who did we play last year in the SEC championship?
Wasn't it Georgia?
I don't remember. I don't remember at all. However, why is Clemson number 5 is still the question.
I don't know, because every time Alabama has won a national championship and come back, we've been number 1. So
yes.
They should.
Dude, Alabama's number 1 when we lose the national championship.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I'm saying. So at the very least, they should at least be number 2, because I think that's a disservice to Dabo and that team.
All right, USC.
I'm.
What are these coaches thinking? Why are we looking at USC?
I hate
over
USC.
Clemson.
We played Florida last year in the SEC.
Florida. That's really
it was 54-16.
Yeah,
I remember that now.
That's how Alabama wins a football game. By the way, did you see the Sports Illustrated preview with the Alabama quarterback Hurt on the cover?
No,
yeah,
really?
Hurt's on the cover. Number 3, Florida State.
See, I don't agree with that. I think Florida State is I think they're too much hype. They get too much hype.
And
that dude's a Saban coach.
They're still rolling off of the who's the quarterback a couple years ago, the guy that
James Winston.
Yeah,
James
he's
Winston.
a jerk and an idiot.
He's from here
I think
too.
they're still rolling off of his fame, but
right.
You know what he did because he won the national championship.
Yeah, from Bessemer, Alabama.
Number 2, Ohio State.
I think they just love what's his name, the coach that we gave the heart attack to. What's the dude's name? He used to be the coach of Florida's Gators.
I don't remember. I did not think when Ohio State a couple years ago played Alabama in the championship that they would score a field goal. I really didn't. And they won.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, the guy that he's a huge Ohio State fan. He and I flew in Afghanistan, and he was like, "Oh, Ohio State's going to whoop Alabama," and I'm like, "Never in a million years." He was right. He's now in prison. Just saying.
Wow.
Just saying. Just Ohio State fan. Just saying.
Urban Meyer.
When you beat Alabama in the championship, you could go to prison. And number one, Alabama. We had leagues better than everybody else, according to the coaches.
We had the number one recruiting class. We've got the number one highest paid coach. I mean, it's just.
Yep, and we've got Hurt, the quarterback. Hurt's his name.
Yeah, that's coming back as what?
Sophomore? Cool as a cucumber. We get him for 3 more years, baby. It's Earl and George. Facebook, send us a like. Send us a message. Check us out. Spreaker, SoundCloud, the Stitcher, the iTunes.
Tune in. Google Play.
Just good. All of them. Just search Earl and George. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. We'll catch you next weekend. Everybody, the remainder of your Saturday, have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you next weekend with a wrap-up of all the craziness of the world's news. It's Earl and George. I'm George.
And I'm Earl.
We're out. Peace.